Okay, good morning. This is Robert Burns, and here with my colleague Robert Russell for our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday trading session, our live trading session. It is December 13th, Wednesday, and we are getting this party started. What we always do first is to take a look on our checklist at the news, and we have had a pretty significant impact, it looks like, from some of the news. The core CPI in the US uh, came out about a half an hour ago, actually about 40 minutes ago. There's some big potential news coming in about a little under, a little under 5 hours from now. It's at 11 a.m. my time, Pacific time, whatever time that is for you. Federal funds rate. This is the Fed defining what they're going to do with the rate. That one has real potential for moving the market. FOMC statement, that will kind of tie into that. That's all at the same time, meaning the Fed making a statement about what they're going to do. There is something at 11:30 that follows that. In other words, a half an hour later, my time, which again is Pacific time. And then there is a red folder New Zealand event in later on, and employment change in Australia quite a bit later in the afternoon, my time. That'd be pretty late in the UK, around 12:30 a.m. Thursday. So there we go. For those that are unfamiliar with what we're up to here, this is something we're very excited about. Robert Russell and I had decided to do a test drive with this live trading session that we're doing. That test drive has taken place for a few weeks here, had very good results, far more winning days than losing days. We had a losing day yesterday, the first one, and we may have more. But that's part of trading, and one of the things that we're really keen on is making sure to keep those losses small. In other words, to cut losses short. Any trading that is real trading, you are going to have some losses, and of course, the preference is to have wins for obvious reason. But we will have some losses from time to time, so that's to create a realistic expectation level that is part of the game. This ties into a promotion that Manifest is doing, some very good pricing to become a customer of Manifest or a customer and IBO, meaning a customer and affiliate or business builder. $20 this month, and then next month on your anniversary. So for instance, were you to sign up today on the 13th of January, if you were a customer, it would go to $99. If you signed up today as a Platinum customer and IBO, meaning a business builder, it would be $40 today, and then $119 on your anniversary, the 13th of January, and ongoing. So very special pricing from Manifest. Excuse me a minute. Trying to sort out when I get slimed in the morning every morning. It is irritating, and I am trying to figure it out. Honey seems to make a difference, but doesn't cure it. That's for certain. Before we get into the additional and really the meat of the matter, which is the trading with Robert Russell, this is an important thing that we do each day, which is the risk disclaimer. Trading is risky. Your results will vary and are not guaranteed. This information is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice or a solicitation to invest. Trading Forex indices, metals, and other instruments is at the full discretion of the user, and users are fully and solely responsible for their own trading results. You could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment and should therefore evaluate your own risk tolerance before trading and only trade with money that you can afford to lose. Any links in my post may contain affiliate referral links and may generate a reward for the referrer. Never risk funds you cannot afford to lose. That's really the essence of this whole thing here. And when trading, if you're new to trading, trade a demo account. Trade a demo account until you have the confidence level that you're going to get consistently good results, that your wins are outpacing your losses. And we'll teach you some things about how to do that properly on this call. But, to be sure, always start with a demo account. You can then, in many cases, depending on the broker you're using, you can take an interim step between actual dollars or pounds or euros. There's an interim step, which is a micro account, which means like $100 turns into 10,000 pennies. And that's something that can be useful, to be really trading money, but it's not the same thing as putting actual, full increments of your currency at risk. So what we are going to do, the trading checklist, which I'm going to send out to you right now via chat, is something that's a very important thing. Just like a pilot has their checklist, we're a big proponent of doing this very same thing in the trading world because it's easy to forget things. In other words, some of the things I'm going to pop in really quick before Robert starts today, just to give you an example of a couple of them really quickly, and then I'll get into them in more detail later. But, Robert will be doing top-down analysis, the TDA, draw out zones and market structure lines. He's brilliant at this. He does a really great job of this. And then ultimately, if we find something where there's real confirmation of a trade, we'll take a trade. May there be a loss? There may. May there be a win? There may. There's a very key thing here. This is real trading. So from time to time, there are losses. And as long as you cut them short, that's part of the game. Don't let them run. That's a really critical thing. I want to show you an easy thing to miss, which is this final thing on the checklist, which is when you're going to enter a trade, make sure that your one-click, if you're using MT4 or MT5, you notice this number that's right up here in the one-click trader. It's really easy to miss this. Okay. In other words, if you're entering a trade, you've done your calculator. Let me get that on here. Give me just a minute. So you've got your calculator. Let's say that I was going to do let's just say I was going to do a short, and this is not a trade call. This isn't just an example to show you the mechanisms of this very quickly. So let's say I was going to do a trade and I wanted to move my stop up here, and my position size that it was recommending was 0.28. I'm a little bit light right now. I'm at a 0.13. Okay, so you want to make sure whatever you're computing with your calculator based on your analysis and based on where the stop is, that it matches what you're actually going to be trading. It's really easy to forget and just hit sell here. If you do, you may be over trading, you may be under trading. So make sure whatever you come up with the calculator, which if you don't know how to work this, we'll show you that later. Make sure your one-click trading matches that. Very, very important. It's an easy one to miss, particularly, it's early in the morning here. I haven't had all the caffeine that I'd like, and I'll often be blurry-eyed and not necessarily catch that. So those are some things to tune in on. Also, in the information I just sent you on the checklist is the calculator, this little guy over here. It's free. You can get it for MT4 or MT5. And again, we'll show you how to work this later. So with all of that said, I want to introduce my colleague, the preeminent trader in our group from Ireland, Mr. Robert Russell, will lead you through his analysis and what he likes and what he doesn't. And there may be more of what he doesn't this time of the year than what he does, because there's some pretty treacherous things out there right now, especially lack of volume in the market, lack of liquidity. So we may not trade today. There's a distinct possibility we may not, unless we see something we like. We just missed one on the USD JPY, which was unfortunate. It happened right before the call, big drop. So no worries. But with that, Mr. Robert Russell.
Robert, thank you very much. Great information. And it's good to see the red folder news is gone. And as I say, guys, we'll look at the markets. I won't do an entry unless I'm getting more and more confirmations. I was on a call last night, folks, on candlesticks. I'm going to keep educating myself through Dave, and this is just giving me more and more confirmations. I might have 2 or 3 confirmations before I enter. With me now studying the candlesticks, this will give me my 3rd, if not 4th confirmation before I jump into the live trade, okay? I'm going to show you just what happened there about 10 minutes ago. I had a trade entry. I'll just show you what was going on here in the chart and why I was going to call it. So here we go, folks. As you can see, we're going to go to the 15-minute time frame. I had my entry here, as you can see. It was the blue line. My stop loss was above it, and this was our entry, okay? I had it marked for our entry, and it did drop. It came down in, and it took our profits. As what people will notice with my profits, folks, it hits the line, and as you can see, it just bounces straight back up. I have my tick profit there for a reason. Why? I always look left, okay? Because it has been rejected at this level before. Am I expecting the USD JPY to drop more? Yes, okay. So with possibility, might get another entry here on the USD JPY. It depends on the dollar, okay? It depends on the dollar. Will this drop more? I did say in the previous day or two that I was expecting the USD JPY to drop more, and it's continued to do this. As you can see, I have my trend line here, and it came in tight to this line here. So once it broke this line, this was my first entry at the top. As you can see, that line there, that black line, that was my first entry. And look at the drop. There was really no retrace back up. It was just a continuous drop right down. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep an eye on the dollar. I'm going to get rid of all these lines. So we possibility. This could be another entry, folks. So I'm going to bring it down. Okay, where will the stop loss be? Let's move this. Okay, so this is a possible entry. Again, it depends on the US dollar. And if I call it, folks, I will give people plenty of time. I will call the entry number. I'll call the stop loss number. I'll also call the take profits number. I'll say to Robert to take a screenshot. We'll put it into the little group. So I'll give you plenty of time to get everything in place, okay? So that's the USD JPY. I'm just going to take a wee look at the dollar. And as you can see, folks, this was the trend line I have set up. I'm going to go to the hour. And as you can see, we broke the trend line here, but we came straight back up. This was the news here, folks, literally 40, 45, 50 minutes ago, and it pushed it down. But as you can see again, now we're getting a retrace back up. I need the dollar to break my blue line here, okay? If we can break this blue line with the dollar, we should get a lovely drop down, and that's going to allow us for our entries, okay? So got to be careful, as Robert says, with low volume in the markets. I'm here, folks, as it says, to call trades. I'm not going to call it unless I am 100% that I'm going to get a trade entry. And also, when I do call the trade entry, when it hits our line, we're going to watch to see what the candle does on the minute and the 5 minute, okay? We might break through our line, but that line I have done is there for a reason. So we're not going to jump in quick. We're going to watch to see what the candle does when it breaks our line. There's plenty of time to jump in. If the pressure's with us, it will drop. So let's go to the euro versus the dollar. And again, folks, we have our trend line going the whole way down, and we did break it over here. This to me now is risky. Let me see on the 4 hours. Okay, so we have this trend line coming up. We broke this trend line coming down. I have an entry here for a possible buy, but again, it's getting rejected right at the level of my entry. It's getting rejected, as you can see here. I go to the 5 minutes. So as you can see, folks, it just came up and it touched the line where I am, and it's getting rejected. It's getting pushed back. Okay, so it's just a matter of watching this. If we can come back up, I will watch the dollar closely, okay? Because today's trades is going to go around the dollar, okay? We need the dollar to continue to drop so we can find an entry. But at the minute, the dollar is, you see, it broke through this line again and it's pushing back up. What happens with the news is you can get great entries in the news. It can go your way, which is great. But also, if the trade goes against you in the news, you're going to hit your stop loss. Folks, you can trade in the news, but keep that stop loss super, super tight, okay? You're confident, you have all your confirmations. If you're going into trade in the news, which I don't really do unless I have got all my confirmations, keep that stop loss so, so tight that you're only going to lose 0.5, okay? Don't give it room to breathe, especially in the news. If the trade lost, that's okay. There's no emotions attached. Folks, the one thing that I can say is when we're entering a trade, okay, let's say the trade goes against us. We're not going to come on with a second entry again, okay, because you're just literally now haven't kept to your risk management, okay? One trade. What are we going to risk today? For an example, we'll risk 0.5. Folks, it depends on your risk management. You've got to look at your calculator, okay? Your account size, your broker. I can't tell you anything about this. I can only give you the entry, the stop loss, the tick profit. That's all I can do. If you've got a calculator, this is the best way that you can find out on your end what risk you're willing to take. So I'm going to go to the DAX. I have my lines drawn in, folks, as you can see. And normally what happens here, let me go to the 15 minutes. And what I'm expecting here, folks, is I'm expecting to come under this line here. It will squeeze up to this corner. And with people on my calls before, what do? We sit, we wait. If it busts through this line going up, we're going to come in on a buy. If it gets rejected, we've already got rejected once. We get rejected twice. We got rejected 3 times at this level, okay? Again, as what it says, I learned from, the candlesticks last night, one of the courses that we're doing through Manifest. Wait. This to me is a resistance line here. So I'm going to wait till we see what this comes up. Watch what the candle does. Because if the candle comes to our line, it gets rejected. Don't jump. Because we need that candle to be able to pass the body of the previous candle. And then we know the bears have got the pressure of pushing it down. So this here is on the 15 minute. If we go to the minute, okay, as you can see, we got down pressure. But again, this to me, it's like, no, I'm not going to enter. I'd rather come up to this line, get rejected, and let it push down to maybe in around this area here. Then we have a good rejection. That means we're going to push down. But again, folks, we need the confirmations. I am expecting this to go into the corner, and if we don't get the entry in our call, I'll watch this here, and then when I get it in close to this area, if we get our push up, as you can see, folks, the DAX has been continuously going up for weeks and weeks and weeks, okay? We'll be patient, because this DAX will eventually fall, whether it's before Christmas or the new year. And believe me, guys, when this falls, we are going to be in the drop, okay? We're going to be in, and we're going to be smiling, okay, because we are going to get the retrace going down.
Is that an all-time high there to the left?
This is the all-time high, correct, Robert?
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is an area we're going to look at. So let's, Robert, good, thank you. So I'm going to put in a little line here, folks. Right here at the top. Let's go here. Okay, so that's a blue line. I'm going to lock this up so it doesn't move on me. And we're down here at the bottom. Okay, so I have this line here, folks, because there's lots. I know this is the all-time high, but we've got a rejection here to the left. We've got another big wick here. Look at the candle here, folks. Push right back down. We came up. We didn't get it. We came up here again. We got rejected. So we're in a range, folks. Okay, we've been in a range from. Let me draw another line here. I could draw it there. And we'll lock it up so it's not going to move. So we entered this here on, I want to move this out of the way because I can't see the date. So we broke this line on Friday, the 8th of December, okay, over here to the left. So we've gone up, down, down, and we're continue to going up. As what I say, if we come up and we get another retest here of this all-time high, and if we bounce off it, we could get the drop what we're looking for, okay? But there's a lot of stuff here that I need before I confirm my trade, okay? Again, as we're seeing here, we're seeing rejection. I want to go down to the lower time frame. We're on the hour. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a candle, folks, here while we're at this. So as you can see, we had our bulls have been in charge, pushing up. Okay, we got up here. The wick finished up here, but we got a wee bit of down pressure when we were finished. Again, the bulls pushed up, but the bear says no, enough. So they pushed down. What we've got to have, folks, is we need this candle to fall below this wick. Okay, now it's gone below the wick. It means the bears are in charge. Okay, it's a great thing that I learned last night. Let's just say we were going to enter up here. We don't enter it the minute it touches it. Let's see what the candle's reactions are. Okay, it's giving us more confirmations. What I would love to see is we get up here to the resistance line, we bounce off it. We get a lovely downfall, we break our resistance line. So I've got one confirmation, two confirmation. My entry will be down at this level here. So I have got three confirmations. That to me is a good entry. Okay, three confirmations, folks. It's vital. If you go on one confirmation, the chances of it going against you is about 80% that you're going to have a losing trade. If you get three confirmations, it's not a guaranteed trade, but it's a good entry. And folks, to me, it's like, don't give that trade room to breathe. I could do 5 trades today. Let's just say I do 0.3, 0.4 loss. Let's say I had the first 4 was losers. I had 1.2% loss. The last one was my runner. Let's say I got 2%. Okay? The best loser wins, folks, okay? And that is the truth. If you let your trades run into loss, your risk management's gone out the window. Your risk, everything is just gone against what you're doing. Your emotions is getting the better of you. Once you hit your stop loss, cut it out. Just cut the trade. You'll be happy. When you look at the USD JPY, just want to look at the dollar, folks, here. Okay, so we did, folks, what's happened here with the dollar, we broke through our trend line and we're going to come back up now and we're testing it. What we want to see is pushing down. We want a good, strong push from the dollar down, okay? The dollar is weak today. As you can see, the dollar is weak. Let's go to the 4 hours. Okay, so with the dollar pushed down, we came back up. So we need the dollar again is to push down. Because there's no point, folks, trying to guess an entry. I'm not going to guess an entry. It has to be all confirmations. Let's go to the 5 minutes. I'm just going to draw a little trend line here. Let me get rid of this first. I'm going to lock it up. Okay, folks, so it's to say today, it's patience. Okay, let's go to the USD, JPY. Let's go to the minute candle. Let me see what's happening up here. I'll go to the 15. As you can see, folks, we did get a rejection here. As you can see, the candle pushed up. The next candle is a doji. To me, it's an indecisive. It doesn't know where it's going. But the thing what I like here, folks, is it didn't break this previous candle's up here. Okay, it didn't break it. This one still hasn't broke it. So if this one doesn't break it, we still could down. But if this candle breaks this candle's high, we're going to push up. I was only on a call last night for an hour, folks, and the information that I got off that call on candlesticks, it's just giving you more confirmations. So we've got 12 minutes of this candle left. What could happen is, you know, the bulls could push it up here, but in the last 2 to 3 minutes of the candle, it could drop down here. What we want for this candle is to push back down to this level, down here. So there's a possibility we can get our entry. There's a long time left in this candle, 12 minutes. I'm seeing the timer over here in the green, as you can see. I'm just going to flick between the German 30, the USD JPY, and the Euro USD, folks. And folks, there we go. Straight away, my trend line is there, and look how it's bounced off it. And what it's going to continue to go up, down, till it gets into the little corner. But just, folks, I can't see the entry here either. Just looking at the bigger time frame at this trend line. So I'm just going to move this trend line, folks, because I don't have it in the right place. It's so important that your trend lines are in the correct place. No, need to get rid of that.
How far back in time do you go for the trend lines usually, Robert?
So you will have maybe the 4 hour or the daily, okay, for the big trend lines. If you're looking for your entries, 5, maybe 15, 30 minutes, okay? Because we're not swing trading, we're looking for a break of structure, you know, so we can get in, get our maybe certain amount of pips, or, you know, so we can bag a profit. So to me, I'm down here at the 30-minute, okay? So I'm going to go from this bottom wick here, and I'm going to run it off the bottom of these candles and keep going up, because I was going down from here down. That's not going to give me a good entry. That could break my trend line and could retrace within a candle or two, so it's not a good entry. I need to get this here correct. You shall see what I mean now when I get this done. You'll go, now we see what you've done.
And my follow-up question while you're doing your analysis would be, when you talk about 3 confirmations, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I'm going to do it straight away now, Joey. Give me 2 minutes. Bear with me, folks. I need to get this right. There's a lot of lines, guys, I know, but this has to happen for me to make it work. I'm happy with that. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the hour. And there we go. That looks a lot better. So, folks, here we go. The confirmations, okay. Let's just say, for an example, we're going to do a sell on the DAX. So important. The first one, my first confirmation is this trend line, okay. We break it. We have confirmation number 1. My next confirmation is down here on this blue line. Why? Because I look left and we've got a lot of support over here, okay. So if we break it, with good force going down. We have confirmation number 2.
That's on the hourly though. I just want to be
Yes.
clear. So
Yes, that's on the hour. When I go into this,
yeah, let me just say it out loud so I understand how you're doing it. Is your confirmations, you're looking at the hourly, but your trend lines, you're in the 30 minutes or 15, 30 minutes.
correct, Joey. This to me, it's just a bigger time frame. When I go to the entry, I'll go down here to 5 minutes, which I was going to do and show. So if I click on the 5, okay, and I'll draw it in. Okay, so here we have the confirmation 1. Most people would say, okay, we've broke the trend line. We could enter here. But it could break the trend line. And straight over to the left, we have this little bit of resistance here. Okay, we could break the trend line, come down, get a bit of liquidity over to the left, and go back up. Okay, this happens so much. What do? We let it break the trend line, come down, watch it going back up again to touch the trend line. And then, as we say, we just hope that it moves down. Okay, this is what we want. We've got our confirmation number 1. It's pushed down. We then wait till we get to our confirmation number 2. You're probably thinking, if it broke the trend line, we could have got in up here and we already should have profits. But again, you're always looking left. It must break these resistance levels to the left. Also, I go by my pivots traditional. So if I click this line on, this is where my line is here. It's just below that daily pivot. So if we break this line, so we have this trend line, which is number 1. We have the pivot here, folks, which is number 2. There's my line below it, which is my 3rd confirmation. The 4th confirmation will be the candles. How is the candle reacting, breaking through my 3rd confirmation? Right below this, folks, as you can see, is a big, thick black line. This is a quarterly pivot line. Okay, we're going to have a lot of problems coming down to touch this line. If we break through this line, as what I say is my blue line, we watch till we see what the candle does. Because straight below it, we have our big, thick blue or black line. So if we come through my line with the candle and we get a good push back down through, we wait. Don't jump in. Wait for the next candle to see what it does. Because if it breaks through these lines, folks, and we break through the daily, let's say the quarterly, let's say we break down, we're going to have plenty of pips to gain. Because the next one is down here. Okay, so we entered up here. We break through these 2 pivots. Let's say we get down here. We have a lovely drop down to the next one. I know people say, you should have jumped in earlier. I would rather wait for my confirmations. Because if I don't wait, folks, I'm telling you in the past, it has bit me every single time. It does. There's no question about it. Confirmations.
How long would you say your wait time is on average to get your 3 confirmations, given you're in the 5-minute interval for trading, and you've already done your trend lines, and you've already done your swing high, swing low on the 4-hour? So what are you seeing on average? Like, is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it an hour? How long are you in these trades typically?
So earlier on there, before I jumped on the call, Joey, I had a USD JPY. I just marked it up because I thought this is really close. Guys, if the volume's in the market, okay, which it isn't at the minute, because it's not moving. But if the volume's in the market, I could be in my trade by just looking at it within 5 or 10 minutes, and I could be out of the trade within 5 or 10 minutes. So between doing my lines, my entry, my exit, my tick profits, it only might last 20, 25 minutes, and that can be me done for the day.
So it depends on the market.
It's the market, it's the volume. We are in a great time between 2 and 4. Okay, this is why we choose this time, because we've got the London and we'll have the New York together. We call this the sweet spot in Forex. This week and next week's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie.
2 and 4 UK time.
Correct, Robert. Yes. as we can see, like, you know, there's not much movement. There really isn't. But what we're going to do now over the next week, week and a half, if the trade call is there, we'll do it. If not, educate. Okay, I'll keep talking where I'm looking. And what it's all about, guys, if you just can turn around and go, when you're off, you know, you're looking at another chart and you go, I know what he means. I see everything. I have a guy on the call.
Really what you're doing is by having, you know, a series of confirmations like what you just went through with the pivots and so forth, breaking through that final, you know, it's like a gauntlet, you know, of different things. But once it does, is it 100% no, but your probability of it being good is increased a lot. And so really patience is the order of the day. In other words, patience, patience, patience. Let it get there. Sometimes it may take a little longer. Sometimes it may take a little less. But if you have those confirmations, your trading result and your probability is much, much higher.
So let's just say, folks, as you can see, my trend line is here. If we had the volume, folks, okay, this can come down here within a couple of minutes. Okay, if we've got the proper volume, we'll come down, we'll break this line. If the proper momentum was there, volume, the DAX can move quite a bit in 30 minutes to an hour. And I mean, it can move from here, it could be down here. This is the volume. This is why I like trading the DAX, because if I have all my lines in place, we can be done in 10, 15, 20 minutes. So if we break the trend line, confirmation 1, we have the next line here, which is confirmation 2. If we break this resistance here on the left, I don't see any resistance till hitting this area, because I'm looking left. Okay, this is where we should get to. Let's say we got to here. Let's say this was our entry. We're taking the stop loss down to, let's just say we'll show where the stop loss would be. Very important, folks, when your trade goes your way, take that stop loss. Let's just say we'll take the stop loss to there. And no matter what happens, let's just say we came down here. The DAX was really going well. Before we know it, we're down here. Okay, we're down here now. What do? The stop loss down here. Continues to move that stop loss. Even if it came up and it hits us here, we entered up here, so we have a nice trade. Also, with Robert to go through, you can take partials. You know, you could move it even down to there and take partial. What does this mean? Let's say you took out 50% of the trade and you've now got 50% left. Robert is great in explaining this here. Okay, very, very good. Always, as what I say, folks, when you move under your profit, you have a nice profit, there's a nice drop. Don't let the stop loss be where it was. Take it below your entry, because you've got a one in trade. It's like if you place your trades in the morning, let's say you have 2 or 3 trades, let's say you're watching them and they all go your way. Take the stop loss in, so you have even 0.2, 0.3 profit. Let the trade run. Because if it comes back, at least you have profit. You're going to be happy. A lot of people go for 2, 3, 4% days. That's incredible, guys, for any trader. If any trader can keep that up daily, amazing. Me, 1% a day. Compound that for 3 or 4 years and come back and tell me, you'll go, oh my God. There's so much in compounding. If you get the 1%, bank it up. If you're going to go back into the markets, trade more, you won't have 1% at the end of the day, folks. You're going to have probably -2 or -3. Some days you'll get lucky. Most days you won't. I bank my 1% up. I do be locking in the markets. I do. But for me to re-enter, it needs to be 3 confirmations out of the 4. It has to be. And if it's good, if it's a good call and I go, wow, this is all lining up, it's looking good, myself only, I increase my lot size, but also I move the stop loss even tighter so it doesn't go against me. Even if it does, I'm not losing my profits. So, folks, that is on the DAX. Joey, I hope that answered some of your questions.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
No problem at all. Any questions, folks, at all? You can unmute because markets are quiet, as you can see. This was a big drop. This broke this trend line. Hold on. I'm going to get rid of these, folks, because this is not going up. Let me see what the dollar's doing. The dollar must have pushed up. It did. The dollar has pushed back up. That was a big push. Let me see, guys. I just want to.
Well, you're taking a look at that, something to keep in mind this time of year is a lot of traders don't trade in December at all, especially as we approach Christmas and New Year's. And so that takes a lot of volume, a lot of liquidity out of the marketplace. The other thing is leading up to a significant news event, oftentimes the traders that still remain in the market will wait to see what the disposition is of that news event. And we have a major one coming in just about 4 hours. So they're wanting to see what's going to happen with that before they take a position sometime. So we've got a couple of things working against us as far as volume and liquidity in the markets right at the moment. So this may be a fine trading day for education.
Yep, absolutely, Robert. Absolutely. Just looking at this, folks. I just want to go to bigger time frames because it does tell me a lot. We're getting a lot of rejections at this level, but I do expect, folks, if we do come down, let's say, and we touch that entry and we break down, we could see a big drop in the US, DJPY. We could see a big drop because it's all pointing in a drop. If I go to the daily, make this a little bit better. We'll pull this out. As you can see, we dropped big candles, big wicks up, another big wick, and then we've got push down, and now we've got another candle pushing down, and 7 hours left in that candle. That candle could be down here, folks, by this evening, or it could be up here. It depends, as Robert says, with some heavy news in 4 hours. For me on the side, I'll probably have an entry on that trade, but the stop loss will be that tight, because I already have my profit banked up earlier on. Had the confirmations, but I won't call a trade until I have at least 3 confirmations. And with the DAX, to me, this is on the daily, the 4 hour. Our all-time high is here. We would need a big, strong bearish candle, like a big, strong bearish candle that ticks out all these candles here to the left. That's why I say the entries here, folks. You probably see now a better picture on the 4 hours. We get a lovely big bearish candle coming down. It means it's ticking out all these candles to the left. So what could happen, this is why we sit and wait. This bearish candle could come down, tick all out the liquidity, and what does it do? Back up. Okay, that's what happens. But if we
Could
break,
you go back to the 1 hour or the day for just a moment, please? Look at the size of that most recent the candle that we're in. Well, really all of them, and what you're seeing is indecision. In other words, those candles are what's called they're a doji is when you have a very small body or no body at all. You have a big wick above, a big wick below, but the body itself on the green candle is smallish. The one next door is a little bit bigger. The one that we're on is even smaller than the one that's candle number 3, the green one. Candle 1 is the one we're on. Candle 2 is the red one with the wicks above and below. Candle 3 is the green one. And you see when you see lots of wicks, it's a clue, especially above and below. The market is trying to figure out what it's going to do, and it's just indecisive. It's also an indication that there's just not a lot of movement, which makes trading dicey at best.
It definitely does, Robert. You know, folks, if you're on Manifest, definitely be jumping on the candlestick calls. Okay, this is going to run for months and months. The education you're going to get there is going to be mind blowing. So that's a call. Is on a Tuesday night. It does look good, folks. You know, when we see a candle here, okay, we hit an all-time high. We got pushback. We have a nice candle here. It's a doji, but we're still getting, you know, the bears are in charge. And if we maybe got this candle to finish down here later today, I would be hopeful that the bears are now in control. Okay, because we got the pushback. The bulls pushed it up here, but you got to look what happened. We got the pushback from the bears. If they say enough, again, bulls today to try to push up, got rejected, and the bears to me are in control at the minute. The news later on could change all this. Okay, it really, really could. I am looking forward, folks, to 2024 trading. I really, really am. As Robert says today, it's all about education. You know, don't jump under trades, folks, especially this week and next week. You know, hold on to your capital. You know, because really, to me, there's only 5-6 days of trading left this year max. Okay, so why would you give away 10 or 15% of your capital? Because you've been in a trade and it's taken that long, okay, and you're in a small loss, and you just close it. You just will close it because you're fed up watching it. You go back an hour later, the trade has gone your way, and now you're in profit. This happens. So many traders does it. It's like watching paint dry on the walls. It's taking too long. And what most traders will say, the only time you're going to get volume is in the news. And that's not a good area to trade either. Because they're too big of a spike in the news going up and down in the candles. And you're going to lose more of your capital. So folks, it's like, no, don't risk it. Don't.
You mentioned the candlestick class, and for those of us in North America, well, anywhere, that aren't able to attend a class, there's a means of being able to get the recordings, and that's something that you'll see from us in the customer group. In other words, if you're a paid customer of Manifest, and that's a really useful thing, because if you miss something, and there's some really great training, some really great education that's taking place. This candlestick one, I heard very good things about from not only Robert, but others. So we'll show you where to go to get that. In fact, we'll post the how to get there in the main group, but the actual location of the videos and so forth, we'll put in the customer group. And that'll give you a means of being able to watch that whenever you wish. So that's something that you can tune in on, you know, when it's a convenient time for you, if you can't attend the live event, which, you know, depending on where we are in the world, you may not be able to attend.
So folks, today I just don't see the opportunities, but as it says, I will keep my eyes open, and if I see a trade, I'll put it under the group, and I will even put in now when I do entry, folks, I'll put in the number beside it. Okay, so I'm going to make it as easy as possible for everybody, so we're not looking where's the entry, we can see the line. I'll put in the number as well. Okay, I'll make this as simple as possible. But folks, today it's like not feeling it, just not feeling it at all. Not calling a trade. There's nothing there. I wish we had the USD JPY trade. You know, what I will do tomorrow, if I see the trade, just 10 minutes before the call, I'll put it into the group. I was out all morning. I was away with a stepdaughter. She passed her driving test this morning. So there was a lot of excitement, and we were busy this morning, and I only got to look at the charts about 20 minutes before the call. So I just seen it at the last minute, but it's good there, folks. You know, I'm still seeing the trades. They're there. Okay, we've had 6 1 days before yesterday. We can do it, folks, and we will do it. But I will wait to the new year if I can't find the trade entries. I just won't call them.
Teenage drivers. The excitement will wane as soon as you get the first insurance bill. You can tell I bear the scars of experience.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, definitely. More trading, Victor. I just need to trade a lot more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
just make more money.
absolutely, absolutely. Folks, when we're on the call, as it says, like, most of us here, it's Manifest, guys. There's so much to offer. We have the live trading, me and Robert here. Guys, there's automation in the background. There's signals. And I can tell you one thing, those are on fire at the
Yeah, can I
minute.
ask a question about that automation? So, from what I've heard, it's not available to us in the US. Oh, glory. Are there's got to be other bots that are. I mean, so from America, is the reason it's not available because the broker doesn't allow anybody from America, I assume? Right. So the
Yeah.
bot can work on other platforms or not yet, or maybe never.
No,
No.
it's the
It's
the type of trading that's being done is using a PAM account, and that is not
that's
available to the US. Full stop.
proprietary.
Yep.
Yeah, is it doing like arbitrage or just back and forth?
I don't know the strategy that's being
Hmm.
used. I know what, this is just far away from it view. I'm totally jacked. I'm put on the affiliate hat for a minute. Can we offer this to people that are elsewhere in the world where this type of trading is allowed? Yes. For that reason, I'm very enthusiastic as an affiliate, but I don't want to offer it personally, whether the company allows it or not. I am not going to offer it in the US because it puts a target on my back. I just won't do that.
You can't.
You can't. And I mean,
Um,
you might be able to, but I think, we're trying to persuade the company that that idea would not be a good one. In other words, the regulators here don't play. And
right.
so I don't want to lock horns with them. It would be literally like that bear in my picture there whacking me on the head. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah. Well, when I
Um,
first saw it, and we were talking maybe 1 to 2% max a day, and then it's expensive and you're giving up 25%, I thought, eh. But then when I saw it yesterday, I mean, it's done 16% in the last 2 days.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
we're talking some
yeah.
serious coin. Um, so I guess I don't know. I guess it's a wish list, but there's nothing like that for us to use even on decentralized platforms like Ox in America. No.
No,
Okay.
no. I mean, it's a situation where it is, generally, the idea of a PAM account and somebody else trading on behalf of a US citizen, A, is not allowed. B, the broker will disallow you from creating an
Yeah.
account that are
Yeah.
the broker rules.
Well, that's
Uh,
okay. It forces me to learn the right way.
yeah. And what you're seeing, with that, I mean, I was kind of surprised because the average over 5 years is somewhere between four, or especially the last year was between 4 to 6%, which is still quite good. I mean,
A year? A year?
a month,
A month. Yeah. It's good.
but we get kind of jaded in this arena pretty readily. In other words, 4 to 6, 4% is 48% a year. I mean, try to get that at your bank.
No, I know. But
Right.
when you
In
can
other words,
do
it's
one
still
to,
a phenomenal number, and yet we get jaded and kind of like, oh, it's only 4%. I want 4% a day. It's like, right. But what kind of risk are you taking to achieve that? Then when you see it out of the blue, which is kind of out of the blue, I think, and somebody more familiar with that particular automation or that PAM out of the blue, suddenly 8% a day, 2 days in a row. I don't know if they changed up the algorithm or what has happened, but it's a significantly higher number. I don't know why. I haven't heard any mitigation as to what changed, because it would seem
Now,
something changed.
yeah, definitely. As what it says, like, it's a matter of I'm having a call with them in about 45 minutes, one of the guys. So I just need to find out, why has the results gone through the roof? Is it, I don't know, down to good trading? Was the bot really, I see the bots
Mhm.
trading US 30. So that's where, it's volatile. It could be big results, but as what Robert says, we've seen between 4 and 6% a month over the last couple of years. To me, consistency was there. It showed it.
Yeah.
But now it's new broker. I want to see my FX book. I want to see everything, tied into this, and just to see what's working. I have jumped into the broker. I've done my KYC. I will go into it in the new year. This time of the year, no, I'll go into it in January first thing and see how it's working.
Yeah, and I mean, from a business standpoint, there's nothing sweeter than being able to have passive income come in, assuming that the automation is consistent. I mean, it's just what's not to like. You could be out doing whatever you love doing and not sitting in front of, a computer looking at charts. That obviously very desirable. But the operative word there was consistent. Is it consistent? Because the minute something starts to get the kind of returns that we've seen in the last 2 days from experience, there's a question mark about will it be able to deliver
Sustainable.
half
Yeah.
that. A quarter of that would still be outstanding. I mean, 2% a day, 1% a day. To Robert's earlier point, if it's consistent, wow.
Yeah.
You can compound that and turn it into a huge amount of money. I was on a call yesterday and got the reminder of this, and it was an interesting call. I was with Tom Hugard and the fellow that his name escapes me, but they were interviewing one another. And Hugard told this story about a trader in the beginning of 22, 3-4 months in, but he had taken $100,000 account and turned it into 7.8 million. And it was real story, real situation. And then it became clear Hugard wasn't describing somebody else. He was describing himself. And he lost the 7.8 million and the kind of psychological damage that did to him.
Man.
It was actually the impetus for the book. Great Best Loser Wins, because he was proficient enough to create that kind of an outcome, which was a remarkable outcome. I mean, let that sink in, 100K to 7.8 million, and then lost it all. And the kind of challenge that he had wrestling through because a big part of this game, a huge part of this game, is how you approach things, how you stay even keel in spite of losses, in spite of, every trader has winning streaks and losing streaks. If you haven't encountered it yet, good fortune, but you probably will, probably sooner than later. And how do you deal with it when you're mentally in a situation where you've got to be resilient and come back and be even keeled? And what Robert is doing and what he's teaching, I really admire, because it's all about patience. If you have the patience to do the things that are necessary and do the confirmation steps that are necessary, your probability of winning goes way up. You just have to be patient. It's like the fishing metaphor is you got to fish when the fish are in. If you're just out there fishing and there's no fish there, well, don't count on much, and it's an apt metaphor, because you've got to have the market. You don't chase the market. That's not a good strategy. Is you wait for the market to come to you and you're patient enough to have it do what you need it to do on your own trading strategy and your own rules. When it does, high probability trades. And that's what I admire about Robert's trading style. It's very simple, very straightforward, and it requires patience.
Yeah,
this time of year, more patience.
This time of year, Robert, as it says, it's worse. But Joey had a great, question earlier on there. When it comes back, the markets come back normal. Okay, we're all going to trade our different pairs. Okay, you're going to find your pair, but you're going to be able to find the sweet spot in the markets during the day, that you're not waiting for hours for the entry. You'll be able to go in, and you're in and out in the hour, and you'll have either your 1 or your 2% banked. That should be you to the next day. For a good trader, won't look at the markets again. They won't. Why? It's good risk management. Okay. That's it. They took what they've got from the market today. Thank you. I'll be back tomorrow for the same again. That's what
there's some other little interesting dynamics too, that just in the last few weeks, I picked up one from the call yesterday with this Hugard call. He doesn't look at his numbers when he's trading at all. And I'm like, and he's trading real high stakes. So if he looked at his numbers, he likes to not do any dollar cost averaging. He wants to add winners to winners, and he doesn't like the whole notion of adding losers. And so he's trading, he might make a trade and 10 index points is 12,000 pounds. I mean, serious bucks. And he says, I won't look at the numbers because that would then psychologically create some being tentative or not being strong, in my belief in a particular trade or a particular position, where when it's going my way, I want to come in maybe yet heavier. I thought, isn't that interesting? Another trader will not trade. He trades, and this was very germane to me. It just hit me right, because I trade a little account, like a $500 account is with what we're doing. But that $500 account gets magnified a great deal into over $1 million actually that's being traded, with prop accounts. Well, if I looked at that and I looked at the outcome until, before the trades closed, would I make different decisions? Would I perhaps react differently? I know I would. As opposed to looking at a $500 account and seeing a buck or two, not a big deal. So I'm going to heed some of that advice, not look at the outcome, look at my little account. If I am going to look at it, that's the only one I look at is my $500 account. And if I see a buck or two, okay, good.
Yeah. Another thing, Robert, before I hand it back to you, guys, with the candlestick call last night, a little golden nugget that I took away, and I will be changing my candle colors on my charts. Okay. Green going up, but red, guys, we attach our emotions to those red. Okay. The red's dropping. We attach emotions. I was like, there's the biggest golden nugget that I seen last night. It's like, pick two candles, two colors that you like. The emotions isn't attached. Like a guy last night, candles was white and black. I was like, simple. It's not, you're just not thinking of, when you enter a trade, you're looking at the candle and you're like, if it's colors that don't attach any emotions to you, it's mind games, folks. It's in here, and I thought, that's great. I'm going to change my candle colors.
Okay, let me show you something that I sent out earlier on the call. If you were on the call, you got it. If you weren't, I'm going to send it again right now. And this is our checklist, and in the checklist is the calculator that I'm about to show you. If you don't have this, this is a terrific tool. It's free. It works on MT4 or MT5. And that link is in the chat as we speak. It says MT4 gadgets. You can go over there. If you click on that and you use MT5, you can locate MT5. It's available on either platform. When you have it installed, this is what it looks like. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's say, for the sake of discussion, and I want to get out of my live account here. Here's my little live account that I have. I trade on. I'm going to go to a demo account. This is another one of those mistakes that's really easy to make. Always do a visual when you're going to show somebody something. Go up here and take a look at your account and make darn sure that you're on the right account. It's an easy mistake to make. I can't tell you how many. I'm embarrassed to admit how many times I've made that mistake. Make sure you're on a demo account when you're playing around. Okay, so here we are on a demo account. And what I'm going to do is put Robert on the spot, which I always do when I do this training. So here we are on the USD JPY. Robert, which direction are we going to go on this trade? Ready, go.
I think we're on a long.
Along. All right. Along it is. Bang. Just like that. Look at what pops up here. I am on a $10,000 account. So 1% of $10,000 is how much? $100. Look at what the loss is if it goes against me and it hits down to this swing low right here. It's 100. It's 98.45. It's going to find the closest swing low that approaches my relative risk amount. I set this relative risk amount at 1%. That's the default on the calculator. You can set whatever number you wish. If that's 1/4%, 0.5%, 1%, 2%, whatever you're comfortable with, that's your decision. Here's what's very significant. If I'm using this in this case, is it's helping me come to the conclusion that based on this risk and based on my 1%, this would be the appropriate lot size at the existing entry level right here. See it right here, 0.45. This is huge, because when you look at any trading, these are the variables that you need to be mindful of. And I didn't know this when I was brand new. I didn't have anybody teach this to me. And it was really, I just think it's critical, because managing risk is, I submit, the most important thing we do. Not the profit, it's managing risk, keeping that equity in your account. So what are the variables? Which instrument are you trading? We're trading 3 of them. We're trading DAX, USD, JPY, and Euro USD. Are they all different? Yes. Which broker are you using? Are they different? Often, yes. You trade DAX on one broker or US 30 on one broker. I know US 30, and I'll give you that example. On NVFX, a $1 move, a 1-point move is $1. What position size? 0.01. On 8 cap, exactly the same equation. 0.1, not 0.01, but 0.1 on 8 cap. Robo Forex and many others, 1. What lot size is the right one? Well, it depends on the broker. So you've got which instrument, which broker, how much money have you got in your account? That matters, right? You got a $10,000 account, a $1,000 account, a $100,000 account. What's your account size also determines your relative position size. And lastly, and most importantly, where are you placing your stop? And what the calculator will do is it will adjust the position size on the basis of where your stop is. If you've told it 1%, this is the position size that I should trade. If it hits down here, I'm going to get hit with a $100 loss. That's it. It absolutely mitigates what the position size is. Now, see, it's moved up a little bit. Let's go up here. Notice it dropped down because my stop loss is at a greater distance. So it went from 0.47 to 0.42. Now I want to show you a more extreme example to make the point. Let's say that I do my analysis and I think, okay, this is a little bit too tight. And don't look at the literal here, look at the concept, okay? Let's say I move that stop down here. Remember, we were on a 0.42 on position size, but let's say I do it below this swing low here. Look at my position size. It went to 0.21. So this is a great example of, if it were here, right here, at that point, it would be a 0.42 approximately on current entry. So you can adjust the entry so that it matches exactly where price action is right now, right there, 0.40. Now watch when I move this bad boy down here underneath that swing low right there. So it's going to go from 0.40 to ding, 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 ding. Drag that stop down there, 0.21. So where the stop is affects your position size a great deal. And if you're not doing this, you may be taking a lot more risk than you should. And what if the other direction, let's just say I moved it up to here and Robert has done the analysis and we're all super confident and it's a slam dunk. This might be a scenario also that you do on the news. Okay. He mentioned several times, real tight stop on the news, right? What would that do to your position size? It would increase it, because if it goes against you, it's still going to be a $100 loss. Not the end of the world. It's a 1% loss. Maybe you want to cut that in half. That's, this is up to you. I'm not suggesting 1% is the right number for you. That's your risk tolerance. But what I am suggesting is figure out what that number is and then figure out a tool that will help you determine what is the appropriate position size on the basis of where your stop is entered. And when you look at this right here, let's say I had the analysis done to put my stop right there. Look at the position size. 0.68. Remember we were 0.2 down here? Now it's 0.68. It's almost 4 times as big. No, it's 3 times. 3.25 times as big. Huge difference. And now if it goes my way, I'm going to make a lot of money. If it goes against me, I'm still only going to lose 1%. This is what I want you to grab onto. And there's a huge difference between any of the instruments that we're trading in the lot size. Here we are on the USD JPY. If I go to Euro, let's just take a peek here. I'm going to say, let's say let's say I'm going to go short on this one, just to go the opposite direction and just be contrarian a little bit. So here's my stop if I have $100 risk set, a 1% risk, which is in the settings of this calculator. When you go to the calculator, you go right mouse click and go indicator list. Click right here, go to properties, and you will scroll down right here. There's the 1% right there. Okay. In percentage or fixed amount, but I use percentage. The other thing you'll notice is, and this varies from computer to computer, if you choose automatic under panel size, you'll get something that is too big here, and it actually obscures the price action over here. That drove me nuts. I want to see what's going on with the candles and see the line and the number, and I don't want to have it obscured at all. So if I set it to automatic right here, you'll see the opposite, of what I have on the screen right now. You're going to see this is the way it comes by default. And I think this one is on 40. So this is what you would see if you drug the calculator onto your chart to begin with. And you're like, what happened to that nifty little one that Robert was using? There you go. Now, if I go, let's say short again, yikes, it completely took over my screen. It's on top of the price action. It looks bad, right? You can control this very easily by just going right mouse click, indicator list, click on the tool, on the properties, then come down here, choose panel size, small, and this is dependent on your screen resolution. They all vary, so you'll have to play around with this a little bit, but I got lucky when I put 80 right there and I chose small. It goes from this obtrusive obstruction of price action to something that is really quite nice. And there we go. Little panel immediately underneath my one-click trading. And over here, it doesn't obscure the price action. This setting, by the way, that I have on here at looking at price action, both on MT4 and MT5, you have this setting. This is when it gets jammed up over against the edge. I don't like that at all. Okay. I don't like it over here because I want to see the price action itself more easily. So I just click this little guy right here and it indents it and puts it over a little bit where you can see the current price action on the screen. Okay. So that's a very, very important setting to have in place to use this tool with the, with the setting that gets you the calculator position so that it's to the right of that, but you still got some space. And you can also see the line over here where the number is. I can see the number bouncing around. I can see it up here too, but it's just easier to see over here. This allows you to see all of that.
2 questions, Bud.
Yes, sir.
Will you post in the chat how to download that for new people? Number 1. And number 2, does it take into account the broker when it's looking at lot size?
Yes.
Because
It does.
automatic. So
yeah,
it,
and here's
looks at
great questions. There's a mandate from MetaQuotes, the publisher of MT4 and MT5, that says if you're a broker, you have to specify on each instrument what your parameters are. So as an example, if I went to the euro and I right mouse click and I go specification right here, can you see that, Joey?
Yep.
Click. Here's all the parameters. So broker by broker, MetaQuotes has defined that each broker that's going to play with the MT4 or MT5 platform has created the specifications for each specific instrument. Therefore, any tool that is created for their platform must read those specifications. That's how it will establish the proper numbers on the basis of which instrument you're trading, like the US 30 example I cited earlier. If you're on Envy, it's a 0.01 for a buck. If you're on 8cap, it's 0.1 for a buck. If you're on Robo4X or FTMO, it's one full lot for a buck. So see you later, Jay. Thanks for stopping in. So there's that. As far as the installation, let's just take a quick peek. as opposed to delaying that. Let's just do that right now. So you'd come down here. Yeah, and I remember this is kind of a pain in the neck. Here's downloads right here. That's one way. Let's see if this is going to be position size calculator. Doesn't tell you really anything right there, does it? I think you have to come down here. I did it once successfully. I got it. So it's on here. Here you go right here. Can you see that, Joey?
Yep.
So if you're on MT4, you download here. If you're on MT5, you download here.
So just go to mt4gadgets.com, and that's from within your VPS, correct?
Yes, good question again. You won't do that from your computer. If you're installing it on a particular VPS, you would do that. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick, and this is not on the this won't be on the test. That's pretty simple. You just download it, you get it on your MT4 and then run it, or your MT5. The other thing that you can do is if you go up here I am on a VPS. This is a VPS I have in Tokyo because I use 8cap a lot. So I go to File, and this is true of MT4 or MT5. Okay. I go to Open Data folder. Can you see where I'm at? Right here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Click. And when I go to Open Data folder, it's going to take me to where this particular instance of MT4. Victor, this is answering a question you had, by the way. Can I have multiple instances of MT4 or MT5? We're going to get into that one too.
Okay.
Yes is the answer. Okay. I've got 3 of them. This computer actually is this VPS is my relatively sparse one, when you compare it with this one. This one is 1, 2, I come back. Hang on a minute. This makes the case pretty effectively. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 MT4s, MT5s. So can you have multiple instances? Yes. You just have to be mindful of putting them, if you're going to do the same one, if I'm going to do aux twice, I've got to create 2 separate directories when I do it. Okay. That's not a biggie to do, but if you're going to do separate ones, meaning if I do LQDFX, which I've recommended some of you, and aux, so you'd trade aux on your gold and US 30. And I think on the DAX also, I think it's pretty competitive. You'd have to look at that. But on Forex stuff, LQD, for the Americans on the call, is a really good alternative. It's got great spreads, good broker, been around a long time. So back over here for a minute.
What's the name of that broker again? LCD?
LQDFX. So if you don't have that, Joey, I had sent you that link to my affiliate stuff. I have a link there. And yes, I know this is a shock, but I have an affiliate link for it.
Right. You're getting links everywhere.
To share a preview of your report on the impact of abortion bans on thousands of families.
I'm going to mute you out, Dennis. We were getting some background noise there. Joey, I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said.
I said something about you got a link for everything. You got a sandwich.
I do. I mean, I figure, if you're going to sign up with a broker and you're going to sign up anyway, why not have somebody that is referring it, make a buck, and vice versa. If you have something I don't have, don't hesitate for a second to get me your affiliate link. I want it. And if I really like it, I'll create my own affiliate link and put it on my page. So that list of links of mine that I've sent you before, it's on there. It's under the Forex section, and it's a good broker. See you, Robert.
See you later, gentlemen. Bye.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a
guys,
bounce.
when you come in here, you go to MQL5. Then you go into indicators right here, and you're going to see gadget-psc.ex5. Well, the fellow I wanted to see this isn't on the call, but that's okay. For everybody else, when you copy this and you place it in like it, let's say I already have this installed, which clearly I do, or it wouldn't be in here. This is where you go to find it in MT5. I would copy that and then just navigate to my other instance. If I wanted to install it on that instance, go to that instance, go to the same location and just paste it into that same folder if it's not there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what I did was I answered my own question, but I just downloaded it from the market twice, basically. And then, yeah, so my goal is when we go live here, once the market comes back in January, is to be running a prop firm on my desktop and then running my live account with my own capital through aux on a Windows laptop, because I have VSL on a Mac on my desktop. Am I making sense?
Sort of. Let me ask some questions. You have, if you're running it on a Mac, you're
Yep.
running a VPS on a Mac, you
VPS,
have,
yeah.
and I am as well. Here is Microsoft Remote Desktop. Okay.
Yep.
You can see I've got, I'll go into the connection center. Here are my 3 VPSs that I've got on here.
You had to pay separately for each one?
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
Yep. Now, if I'm doing a lot of stuff though, where I'm in different locations and I want the best performance in relationship to where the broker's servers are. So that's hence why I have this.
Mhm.
One of which is a completely unique situation for me, because a lot of the brokers that I'm using and things I'm using, my wife is a dual citizen. So I want all of the brokers to see me as being in Romania, and I permanently am in Romania when I go through this VPS in Iași, Romania.
Mhm.
So that's for that. The other two are for directly trading stuff. These two I trade on, especially the Tokyo one. Now, if you have a laptop and you have a Windows laptop,
Yes.
okay, here's what I would do in that case. You have remote desktop on Windows is built in. It's integral with the operating system. It's not optional. You've got it already.
Okay.
So why not log in using your
VPS.
yeah, log into your VPS on your laptop, get it set up. It's a different doorway into the same place. Now, here's the rub. If you've got your charts set up, you've got your screen set up for your Mac, and you have a big, let's say you have a big monitor. I have a big monitor just to make this example.
Yeah.
I use then, I don't have a Windows laptop. I have a Mac laptop when I travel, and it's a little puny screen comparatively. Well,
Yeah.
I've got to adjust my screen, but if I'm out traveling, at least I have access to my tool set and my VPS. It's just not optimum as far as the size of the monitor, but you can adjust it, and you'll get so you can adjust it very quickly. That's the best way to go. I would not put a direct, I would not have my direct trading access on the laptop for the same reasons that I don't do it on my Mac. I want to have it on the VPS because the VPS maintains the uptime. I don't have downtime on the VPS.
And it's secure.
And it's secure. There's just a lot of attributes that are desirable.
Okay, but is it true that you can only log into your one? So I only have one VPS. You can only log in one device at a time, correct?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I almost have to buy another VPS for the Windows laptop if I'm going to run, because basically, again, I'm running prop firm from the desktop, Mac through VPS. And then I want to run my aux live account capital from the laptop through, I guess, a second VPS.
Well, let's back up. Do you want to have more than one account on your VPS? Like you wanted a live trading account and a
prop firm,
a regular trading account and a prop firm?
Correct.
You can do that.
Oh, okay.
I just showed you I had 14 on one VPS.
Mm-hmm.
Not hard to do.
So just go into the VPS and set it up.
Yeah. So in other words, those are called instances. When you look at this one here, I've got a lot, and this happens. Most of these are MT4. There's a couple that are MT5, but these are all instances of MT4 or MT5. I got a bunch of them. So
Wow.
can I have 2 instances running at the same time, or 3 or more? Yes. You're going to start taxing the resources if you get above a certain number. You just have to add resources on the VPS. You got to make the VPS more powerful. But can you have 3 different trading accounts? Absolutely. No problem.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it means I don't even need the laptop set up. I can run them all from my desk because I've got 3 screens.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we get into a little bit of detail here. This VPS screen that you see on the screen, I also have 3 screens, coincidentally. I'm running this VPS here. Can I have 1 VPS on one screen and be able to toggle back and forth on that VPS in between trading accounts on that VPS? Yes. Can I have 2 screens with that VPS? No.
Well, one screen would be one VPS and the other screen would be the other, correct?
Well, if you have,
you only have one.
two VPSs, then I in fact have 3. So I literally have a VPS on each screen.
Okay. So to make sure I get my head wrapped around it, with one VPS account, you cannot have 2 instances open on 2 separate screens.
That's right.
Okay.
You can have two instances open, but only on one screen. So I can toggle, like, let me show you that.
Okay.
It's easier to do that. Pictures 1,000 words. Right now, here I am on this one right here, which is 8 cap. Okay. And I pop over here. I want to go to my MT5. Now I'm on a separate account.
Okay.
I've got 2 instances running, but only on one screen.
Okay. All right.
I can't separate them and so forth. If I want that, I've got to get a second VPS.
Okay, got it. All right, I understand.
Now, the benefit of the laptop now is all the stuff you've got on your Mac with, everything you've got on the Mac, you can have on the laptop. You're just going to have to adjust screen size when you're traveling with your laptop. That's it. It'll work fine. It just won't be the luxury of seeing all this screen real estate that you have on the bigger monitors.
Right. Right. So, and in order to do that, all you have to do is log into the VPS from the laptop.
That's right.
Okay.
You just set up the VPS. It's a different doorway into your VPS and a doorway that has a small periscope.
Got it. Yep. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Thanks for answering that.
Sure. So I think that's what I wanted to cover today as far as technology. Keep those questions coming. Dennis, you unmuted a couple of times, and I want to make sure I don't miss what you asked. Do you have a printed list that states which brokers are best for which type of trades? I probably should, but I don't, Dennis.
Thanks. I got to hit it. Thanks,
okay.
Rob. All right. Bye-bye.
See you, Victor. Dennis, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. For what we're up to on this call, there's a couple of brokers that I'm fond of. One is Ox, which is an Australian regulated broker, but the doorway that an American can come through with the same broker is their SVG version, which means you get 1 to 500 leverage, the benefits of a decent broker. Although the one that Americans can come through is not regulated, or if it is regulated, it's not regulated in Australia. All the support, everything is the same, but they have to do things where you can't get the Aussie version, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I just, you said earlier, that, that one broker was better for doing certain things, and then another broker was better for doing other things. And I was just wondering if there was a visual list of that, so that I don't have to try to memorize it or start my own list or whatever.
Yeah, I don't, and probably should. I'll show you right now, just a quick comparison. Ox is particularly good at US 30. Ox is the one that's Australian, and SVG, St. Vincent's Grenadine, for the Americans. Ox is really good at US 30. It's really good at gold. has been pretty good lately. I looked at it with DAX, so it's good at all of those. LQDFX is really great, especially on the Forex pairs. And it also has pretty decent rates, I found, which change. They didn't used to, and this stuff is always a moving target. I mean, brokers want to be more competitive, so whatever you say one day, tomorrow might be a different number.
Right.
But LQD, the last time I looked at them, I used to use them for some Forex stuff that I was doing with robots, and then, you know, circuitous route got some other places with brokers, but I kind of like them. And I especially like them for Forex stuff. And now I'm doing Forex stuff again with the USD JPY and the Euro. So, you know, there's a lot to like with that broker. I like having a couple of brokers though, because then you know, I don't have too much money with any one broker. I had a bad experience in the past, so I like diversification with brokers. I don't put all my eggs in one basket ever with brokers.
Right. Right.
So those are a couple of recommendations. I think you also have my affiliate link list, that black and black screen with all the little.
Yeah, you would not do it now, but I'd like to give you know how you created that. That's similar to what I mean, it looks similar to a link tree, but I haven't been able to get my link tree to look that well and to be compartmentalized like that. I don't know if you use Linktree to create that or not.
No, I used a guy on my digital marketing team who is just terrific, and he found that and created that for me. So it's custom.
Okay. Well, I'll do that. Go in the back door and do copy code, huh?
that would work.
I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that.
No, I mean, you know, no skin off my back. If you can get it that way, by all means do. Yeah.
No,
I'm the owner,
I'm
so I mean,
kidding,
I give you my permission publicly on the spot right now if you want to do that.
I believe there is a way to create categories like that on Linktree. It may be the paid version that you have to upgrade to, but I believe Linktree has that capability to create something similar.
Yeah, I think it probably does. I just don't know it as well, and I have the luxury of using a young man in Bangladesh who's been my right hand for years at this point, and he's terrific. So
yeah, I really like that. That's a great tool.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was one other thing. Now I forgot what my other question was. Oh well, I'll message you later when I think of it again.
Okay. And we'll be here tomorrow. So I have a feeling we're going to be doing more training than we are trading the next few days, just with the market the way it is.
Yeah, well, it's that time of year.
So I'll be in the driver's seat more than Robert probably. But you know, it's a good opportunity to, in the music world, we called it woodshedding, you know, to get your axe sharper in the woodshed before you're going to go out and try to cut a tree. And it's a fine time to look at position size calculators, getting your VPN, VPS, or not VPN, VPS stuff set up, etc.
So are you a musician?
Yes.
Interesting.
I play bass and played professionally many years ago. I haven't in a long time, but I want to get out and perform again. I love live performance.
Interesting. Well, man of multi-talents.
I'll show you my you can sort of see them in the background. I'll turn off my screen background thing.
Yeah, with that bear screen background. If you saw my comment yesterday, but I actually wrestled a bear back in my earlier days.
Wow.
My friends used to take me out to the bar and pay for my drinks because I was the only one brave enough to wrestle the bear.
Wow.
Or crazy enough. I don't know if brave is the right word, but
you can see some evidence right there. There's one.
Yeah.
That's all Fender jazz basses. That's the type of bass I play, with one exception, which is a Steinberger. But yeah, I behind me is a whole pile of stuff that I need to get my act together and get it really assembled properly. I've got all manner of amplification.
So what genre you tend to lean towards?
I play a number of different things. I like rock. I like pop music, like jazz, Latin, reggae. I thought I'd never say this, but there's some stuff I like in the country genre, as of late. And usually it's easy to play on the bass, so it makes it, it's easier, than some are fairly challenging.
Yeah, country is becoming a lot more like poppy Southern rock these days.
Yeah. It's there's some styles. I just, my thing, I used to be kind of militant, against, but age has a way of tempering a young man's philosophies. And some of the stuff that I don't like country. It's like, I like anybody that can play well. If they can play well and they're good, they have good musicianship. There's some country artists that are just undeniably great,
Yeah.
And so I'll listen to them and like, a lot of those and kind of have some fun. My wife left me, my dog died, kinds of tunes.
Yeah.
So
truck died on the train track and got run over by a train.
Yeah. I'll show you one. This one is the one actually that I played with most of the time a long time ago. This one is called a Steinberger, and it doesn't have a machine head. The machines are back here. But
Interesting.
this was a very popular bass in the early 80s to mid 80s. A bunch of people played it, and I was playing a lot in those days with, like a Fender Jazz, which was much heavier. So this was easier on the back.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I got to show you this one as long as we're on this topic. This is one that I made, and at the time,
oh wow,
you can see the degree to which I borrowed things from a bass or a guitar is called a BC Rich. They had a guitar called a Rich Bitch, and this I admit I borrowed a lot. Probably today would have a very different body design than this one, again with age. But this is a piece of Purple Heart. This is the sapwood from walnut. So I did the lamination, did all the routing. The neck is a modulus Olympic neck. And then
that's
the back
awesome.
has the metal pieces on it here, the knobs and the back. I created all that. The neck and all this part I purchased. It's a modulus Olympic, but it's a fretless. I patterned it after a friend of mine who had at the time, a 1964 pre-CBS jazz bass, and it was just the most awesome instrument. So I took all the measurements off of it, wanting to create something that was similar, and it plays, as far as the physical part, it plays just like that. It was exactly what I wanted. Tonally, couldn't be more different than his bass. His bass, had wood where the water escaped from the wood, so it would resonate. The older they get, it's like Stradivarius, you get much more resonating when the water's out of the wood. And I forget the wood that is in the Fender basses by default, but this wood and this piece specifically, where the pickups are, where the bridge is, and all of this piece is really dense. It's only the Purple Heart, that the wood that this is only eclipsed by ironwood as far as density. And it burned up router bits. I mean, it was a challenge to get it right. But the tone, completely unique. I like it, but it's very different than what I had initially set out to create. So
interesting.
Yeah. So you don't want to get me on this topic or on fishing, because we'll be here a long while. The two passions, that I have outside of what I do for vocation.
Yeah, that's great. I missed my calling. I should have been a rock star myself, but
do you play?
I don't. That's I'm legally blind, so when I took like music appreciation and stuff in high school, and
Sure.
and when I looked at it, they're all in high school, the band, they're all sitting there looking at music sheets, trying to play
Right.
on music sheets. And I have astigmatism. I mean, I look at a music sheet and it's like tripping. I'm like, stuff's all over the place.
Right.
And I thought, okay, well, maybe that's not for me. But
there's a lot of people that I've played with over the years that couldn't read a note of music, and they're some of the finest musicians I've ever seen and heard.
I've learned that over the years, but I'm also tone deaf, which is another issue. But that's God has a sense of humor. He made me love art and love music, and then made me deafblind. So. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Stanley Clarke, Jaco Pastorius, Chris Squire. There have just been some great bass players that have kind of defined the music beyond the instrument, beyond being a rhythm machine. That taking the bass to be the lead instrument.
Yeah, Jaco far and away is my favorite player ever. In fact, that fretless, the one that I made, there's a guy that I studied with for a couple of years that is absolutely world-class bassist, named Maury Loudon, and he's now where he should be in New York and playing in jazz clubs and so forth and recording. He played for years at the Bellagio and the jazz bar there. And I said, man, this is a good gig. You get to practice and you get paid for it. It's cool.
Right.
And he was always just a remarkably talented bass player. Really, I mean, just had in his DNA. And I had the good fortune of seeing Stanley more than once, seeing Jaco more than once. Never saw Chris. Chris was an early influence of mine, as was John Entwistle, because both of them have that round, bangy, real metallic sound that I like. Getty has that.
Rickenbacker bass was a big part of Chris's sound. It was the bass that he used.
Well, and how he played it though was that was the thing,
sure.
because he'd use round strings on there. He used roto sounds, and so did Entwistle. Right. Both had that real kind of metally sound, which would cut through in the bands that they were in. They wanted that sound that the bass would cut through. And so those were definite influences. Getty is another one. Love him, the bass player from Rush.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A guy actually that I played a little bit of his stuff early on, but he's just he kind of has taken the mantle, as far as I'm concerned, that Jaco created. It's a bass player by the name of Bunny Brunel. And he's a Frenchman. He lives in the Los Angeles area now. And so he is he's played with everybody that's anybody in the jazz arena. Most everybody. I mean, in fact, I just posted on my wall on Facebook. If you go to my Facebook profile, you'll see a YouTube recording of Bunny playing with Al Di Meola, which is a remarkably talented guitar player. And the two of them and this is the part that impressed me the most. Both of these guys are as badass as they get on their instrument. And they're at a NAMM show, no fancy recording stuff, no cheating, no, any of the stuff that you can do in a studio. It's them just standing up and delivering. And it's like, damn, these guys are good.
Yeah. Al has this cool thing he does every year where he creates a contest of some kind where somebody can come out and spend a week with him at his home.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't aware of that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of paying it forward.
Yeah. Go on my Facebook. I'm linked to him. I don't know if it's his actual, I'm pretty sure it's his personal page that he's on my friends list. But yeah, I'm a big fusion fan.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of things to talk about there.
Return to Forever.
Sure. Well, Bunny played with Chick. Bunny's played with virtually everybody that are probably familiar names in that genre. I mean, he is he's wicked on the bass. I mean, just and he does this thing with sliding harmonics that was kind of his hallmark. And he has, there's some bass players, you know, like with guitar players where technically, and this is just, you know, a subjective preference thing as far as music, but there are players that have phenomenal technique, but I don't like their musicality. Bunny is a guy that has the technique. He can do that, but his musicality and his understanding of the role of the bass musically is just, he's just the man. You know, like Jocko was. I mean, Jocko, you know, there would be complaints about he would overplay, but laying down a groove, nobody could contest that. I mean, he just like you know, that funk background to his showed up everywhere. And it just, I mean, boom.
It's so sad how his life ended, that he, you know, he wound up impoverished, basically couldn't. Well,
I mean, a classic example of the import of taking care of mental health, because he had some mental health issues.
Exactly.
I saw him first with Weather Report, the particular version of Weather Report was with him on bass, Alex Acuna on drums, Badrenia on percussion, and Zawinul and Shorter, of course, were mainstays in that band.
Right.
And probably the best band I ever saw was that band. I mean, they were just unbelievable, all of them. And
Miles Davis had a knack for picking good musicians, and that's where they came from. Out of Miles Davis.
I've been listening to Miles, you know, a bit lately, and just he did. I mean, there's those talents of recruiters, you know, recruiting that really show up. And Zawinul got the memo, and he found Jocko, and then I saw Jocko on a solo tour in San Francisco, and I mean, I'm 8 feet away, and every bass player in the audience was, jaw drop, you know, holy smokes, this guy was good.
Yeah, Miles was pretty much the grandfather of fusion. He pretty much started that whole thing. John McLaughlin, almost anybody went through Miles Davis at some point. But yeah, that's good to know. We just keep finding mutual ground, don't we?
Yeah, there's some interesting correlations, aren't there? So
I guess that's a good thing, in my opinion.
I mean, to me, music is such a any performing art like that, but especially music for me is like, you know, my wife, I'll listen to music and emotion, you know, there's just, it touches me.
Right.
And, you know, she'll look at me sometimes like, you know, that, you know, my reaction to a different tune, or, you know, the joy that brings it's just, it's hard to explain. And especially, you know, when you hear somebody that really can play and you know what it means, you know, to deliver that in a performance. Bunny is one of those guys. Sorry?
Said night after night, you know, these guys go out and, you know, perform concert every night. And every night's a little bit different because they bring their current mood into the performance. And it's
the
not
fact
totally
that somebody
improvised, but at the same time, it's influenced by their emotions.
And the fact that they can deliver, you know, it's one thing to do things in the studio, you know, and there's the studio performance, but the ones that impress me the most are the ones that can do it live. And like in this case with this Bunny Brunel Al Di Meola performance, which I posted on my Facebook wall, they ain't no production. It's just bam, here we are. I mean, there's no fancy gimmicks. You know, you can do a lot of stuff with a studio, you know, and studio production. And so you kind of, you listen to some stuff and kind of go, yeah, okay. Can you pull it off live? And many can't. and many have challenges with that, but the really great ones, not only can they pull it off live, they're better live.
Right.
I mean, that's when you got somebody that really has, they can reach down and just deliver. And
Allman Brothers comes to mind.
yeah,
People
Barry
at
Oakley.
Allman Brothers.
Barry's playing this one. Yeah, that's one of the first tunes I learned on the bass was Whip and Post.
Oh, wow. That's a good one to learn.
Yes.
Government Mule is following along in that tradition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how familiar you are with Government Mule, but they're Warren Haynes, one of the former guitar players that's gone through the Allman Brothers band and Government Mule. Check them out. You like them. They tend to actually have rotating bass players. They do concerts with where like they'll play Deep Purple song and Roger Glover will come in and play bass.
Wow.
Play a Black Sabbath song and Geezer Butler comes in and plays bass. And they do the rest of it. I mean, that if you do look up Government Mule, and they usually abbreviate it GOV, comma T or dash parentheses. Can't think of my term. Apostrophe T.
Right. Okay.
Mule, and then Deep End is the concert that they do have several versions of it now. That volume 1, 2, 3, but so on. But that's what they did, like a 3 or 4 hour concert, and all these guest bass players would come in and play the bass on their particular cover of their song.
Something I stumbled on the other day, and it just when you're busy, and music I just do for pleasure completely these days. I mean, there's no economic thing with it at all. Although I might get out and play again at some point, but it's not going to be from that motivation or that standpoint.
Right.
I would accept money if somebody would, but it won't be the motive. It'll be to play and to perform and have fun. But I stumbled on a guitar player that I really liked back in the day was a guy named Steve Morse, who was the founder of Dixie Dregs. And Morse, I had no idea, for 20 years played with Deep Purple.
Yeah, until
I was like, what? And some of the stuff that they were doing, Deep Purple, they aged, they matured, and the stuff they were doing with Steve Morse, I was like, damn,
Yes,
and they always had great guitar players, Deep Purple, Richie, and some of the, Tommy Bolin for a minute. And I was just kind of stunned, when I saw Steve Morse, because I thought of him as a fusion guy and not hard rock stuff, but he fit right in, and he apparently liked it because he stuck around for almost 20 years, I think.
Well, the money was good for sure.
Yeah. That helps.
But yeah, I wish they would have incorporated a little bit more of his instrumental fusion style. Because early on, Deep Purple was pretty experimental and did a lot of instrumental stuff, and then they became millionaires off Smoke on the Water, and they kept trying to reproduce that then. But so they kind of got away from that extended play, experimental kind of style. But I was hoping when Steve Morse joined them that they were going to kind of go back that direction. But they incorporated
and same thing though. They need to make money, and the money isn't what they've been doing all along. And I can't begrudge them for that. If they can make a buck in the music business, good on you.
Yeah, I've seen every version so far, except for the current one. They're talking about maybe Steve Vai or somebody coming in and replacing Morris. That they've got somebody, I think, right now, but I haven't seen this current version. But I've seen every version of Deep Purple live except for Mach 1 when Nick Semper and Rod Evans. I never saw that version. They broke up a little bit before my musical exposure caught up to them.
Vai's another one I love. I love his stuff. Never listened to Billy Sheehan back in the day, but he's a remarkable bass player. I mean, he does. I mean, I'm impressed with the technique tonally and some of the things. He's obviously a very good player, but it's a subjective. he would not be on my favorites list of bass players, but I admire his technique.
Yeah, well, but Chris Squire chose him to replace him. So that's a pretty good stamp of approval right there.
Where Sheehan played in
Yes.
With Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd clearly be capable of doing it technically. I mean, in guitar players, there's one that comes to mind that I love Beck, Jeff Beck,
Right.
and he always did things that were so unique and so different, and not necessarily showing off which he had awesome technical skill, but he wouldn't show it off. But there was a guitar player by the name of Ray. There is a guitar player still alive named Ray Gomez that coincidentally played with Stanley Clark. And Ray, when I saw him in Berkeley years ago, he stole the show. I mean, I was there to see Stanley, and I was awed by Ray. I mean,
I'm friends with Ray Gomez.
Really?
Yeah, look on my Facebook page.
Well, I am too. And every time I have the opportunity, in fact, recently I made a post somewhere on one of his posts that I said, and I made that very comment. I said, you, in my opinion, stole the show. And I love Stanley, but damn, this guy's good. And yes, he had the technique, but he had that Latin fire that he's got, and he brought it. And it was unlike a lot of the fusion guys who were very technical and very kind of jazzy background. Ray clearly had played in a rock band somewhere. He shows up with a Les Paul and a Marshall and just kills it. I mean, nailed it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what Stanley liked too, because Stanley hired him, and man, that guy was good. He is good, not was. He's phenomenal. There's an album called, gosh, what is the name of that? LA Zoo, I think is the name of it, from Bunny Brunell. And let me just hang on 1 minute. LA Zoo, Bunny Brunell.
I apologize for getting us off topic, but this is a great discussion.
Well, we were pretty much done on the other part anyway. And, this is let me share my screen. Oh, I am sharing. Okay. So this is
revisited.
Yeah, this has got Vivian Campbell, Brian Auger, Virgil Donati, who I think is on a real short list of the best drummers on the planet.
Oh yeah.
Bunny Brunell, and here's Ray Gomez on one of the tunes. I mean, this album, and this is my boy. I mean, this guy, Bunny's in a league by himself today. I mean, as bass players go, he's just tasty, really great sound, understands the role of the bass, but he can solo with the best of them. So he's kind of that, to me, the ideal bassist and his tone, forget about it. He should growl on the low end, that real fat, Jocko kind of sound on the low end, where Jocko would hit a number, would just growl, on the fretless. Bunny's a fretless player. And he plays, plays fretless and then electric upright. and there's things with he gets together with Stanley pretty regularly, and they call it baseball.
How appropriate.
Yeah. And he's on Facebook, and I regularly plug him you'll see that if you go over to my wall on Facebook. I put this, let me find it.
Just a bit of trivia. I actually went to the same high school. I was about 10 years behind him as Dusty Hill of ZZ Top.
Oh yeah. That's another. I mean, the band was good. Billy Gibbons he's one of the preeminent guitar players of our era, as far as I'm concerned. He's in a class by himself. This is
Hendrix liked him. That says a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's the one with Al Di Meola and Bunny Brunell. It was from yesterday. Two giants and one of my favorite bass players, the Beast, Bunny Brunell. Note, none of the benefit of a studio here, just raw badassery from both of these gentlemen at the NAMM show.
Cool. I'll get over there and
Yeah,
check that
it
out.
really is. I mean, and they play a tune that a Chick Corea tune, coincidentally, Spain, and nail it. I mean, just like, so yeah. I need to go, but this is a to be continued.
Yeah, likewise. I agree. Fascinating stuff. So we'll talk to you later. And if I think of that other question that I lost, I'll text you.
Yeah, and I need to send this over to Joey. This is you already have this page, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. It looks different on my phone, but yeah.
The two that I was recommending, this is LQD, and then Ox is right here. So these are the two for Americans that I'm fond of. And especially with what we're doing on Robert, the call with Robert, I'd use LQD on the Forex stuff, and I'd use Ox on the on DAX. And I think I've got to look at them more. I didn't trade DAX on Ox, so I may be lying on that, and I want to be careful about, because you need to look at the spreads. If the spreads are really tight, then Ox Ox. By the way, if you're going to use them, if you get a VPS for them in New York. They're an Aussie broker, but their servers are in New York.
Okay.
If you use LQD, get a VPS in London. So, I mean, if you're going to,
all of that would be great to put into a PDF or something, so that it just kind of, you don't have to retrain every person that comes across your path about all that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I
definitely will take that under advisement.
If I wind up getting knowledgeable enough to dissect all that into a format for myself, I'll share it with you. But
sure,
I think you're way ahead of me in that regard. So you'll probably produce it faster than I will if you put your mind to it. But
it's a matter of there's where my brain goes instantly is it depends on where somebody is and what they have access to, because I'm working with a lot of people that are not limited as my countrymen are. In other words, U.S. citizens have special limitations in the Forex world that, just anger me no end, but that's a different story.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. But if they don't have that limitation, then things change completely as far as what the recommendation is. But for U.S. citizens, it's a fairly narrow, which would be easier to create because there's only a few choices, sadly.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Pocket Broker, but I joined them because of I forget which project. It's something like 8-Minute Trader, but it's a different one that I was involved with. They used Pocket Broker, and then pretty immediately I stopped doing that particular one, just because you can only subscribe to so many trainings in a month before you go negative, and you have to sort of prioritize. And so I haven't really used Pocket Broker that much, but I've got $100 sitting there, so I need to figure out how to incorporate that broker into something so I can utilize that micro account.
When you're on MT4 or MT5, one of the things that you can use to measure a particular broker, like if I go in here and I got to do this anyway, so I'm going to just pop in here for a minute, and I'll go to that one as well. See if those open up, if it's going to cooperate. This particular VPS has resources, but it's got the weakest processor by far, my Romanian one, and it kind of misbehaves a lot of the time. Let me see if that's going to work. In the meantime,
that reminds me, when we were talking on the phone the other day, you recommended a certain VPS, and I didn't write it down. I think it was FX.
Yeah, that's on this list right here, which is, there are a couple of them on here. I like FX VPS better than FX VM. This one right here.
I think I messaged you on Telegram about which one you recommended for me to use with Robo4X, but
Yeah, either of these would work, because when you choose the VPS, you go in here, go to broker latency right here. And when you do that, you're going to be posed with this big long list. You just type in RO and you'll should quickly get to Robo Forex. Let's see if I'm lying to you. Hang on, Robo.
And what is that you're in right now?
I'm on FX VPS.
Okay.
And that's one of two that I have, FX VM and I like FX VPS better. Just seen better performance with them. And let me make sure I'm not lying. Hang on, Connection Center. Well, either of these actually, it's kind of a, I used to have more choices on my affiliate list. This one has good performance. If you don't go with the base one, like, 25, $30, you get real significant performance increase, which I like. This is the one that we're on. I use that for my New York servers for Ox specifically. But when you go to their, whoops, where am I here? Right here. So you go to FX VPS, up at the top, you see broker latency. And then there's a long list of, if you haven't typed anything in search, you can just kind of scroll through the list and see who they have, or you can type the name of the broker that you want to use, in this case, Robo Forex. And when you do, you're going to see that in Frankfurt, they have the lowest latency, meaning the low number is the good number. So New York for Robo Forex would be a poor choice. Amsterdam would be somewhat better. London would be somewhat better. Frankfurt is the winner by far. And if you're trading DAX, where is DAX? German 40. So this is a real good choice for Robo Forex.
Right. Okay,
So,
yeah, that's good. Then, okay, now I remember all this. I know you said you had to go, so this is a quick question. With Epic, the VPS, you were saying that you want to keep your computer on all the time, so it's constantly running.
No.
What happens in a power outage?
No. Hang on. So the VPS is always on. You being logged into it is a matter of choice that you can log in whenever you wish. VPS is running round the clock.
Okay, so a power outage isn't an issue then if
no
you
problem.
have temporary
You come back
outage.
online, or you get your laptop, or you can even, I don't do this, so I'm saying something that I don't do, and I want to clarify that. I don't use it on the phone, although you can. I just didn't like the interface. But if you have a laptop, like what I was just, discussing with Victor, you come in and your power is out on your desktop machine, your VPS, if it's running things, especially important with robots and so forth on the VPS, it's running around the clock. You pay for that uptime. You can log in on a second computer. Laptop doesn't have the problem of power outage. You got a battery, you go to some place to plug it in and get Wi-Fi.
Right.
You're right into your VPS, because you can have the VPS access on your desktop and your laptop. Now, only one at a time can log in.
Okay.
But the VPS is running around the clock. So that's one of the things you're paying for is uptime.
Okay, so it's not necessarily installed on your computer. It's something that it's on the web and you just log into it.
Well, that's partially true. What kind of, are you using Windows or a Mac?
Windows.
Okay, if you're using Windows, remote desktop is integral. It's built in. Just like when Windows ships with a browser, they ship with the Edge browser or whatever the current version is.
Right.
Remote desktop is the same. It's integral in the operating system. You have it right now. So you get your remote desktop, you get the parameters from the VPS company, you pop it into your remote desktop app that is part of your Windows, and in you go. And it's cake. I mean, you get an IP address, you get a password. That's it. It's simple. And on the Mac, you've got a separate app that does that, coincidentally, from Microsoft, called Remote Desktop. And that then gives you the ability to log into your VPS. As you see here, I can log into any of those VPSs directly.
Interesting. I've not used the remote desktop feature, so that'll be a learning experience.
It's very straightforward. I mean, once you've done it once, it's downhill from there, and it's not a big deal. when you sign up for a VPS, you'll get you'll get an IP address, which is the address that you go, and they make it simple because they've got to get it so their customers can use it readily. There's an IP address that is the server location of the VPS that you choose. And then there's a password, and that's it. You pop that in, and once you set it up, in other words, if I looked here, I click edit, I got to be careful on this, but there's the IP address of this server that I'm using in Romania. And then it works similarly on the version that's in Windows. You have a username, which would be like admin or trader would be common ones. If it's a 4X VPS, it'll often say trader, and then you have a password, and that's it. Once you save that, then the next time you come in, you double click, you're in, just like that. Boom.
Cool. You're a never-ending source of information, brother.
No, there's a limit.
I ain't reached it yet.
Well, you will. It's there for sure. Anyway, I got to get, have a great rest of the day, guys, and I will see you tomorrow if you're going to be on the call tomorrow.
Talk to you later.
Okay, bye now.